We got up the first morning really early, came downstairs with just a few changes of clothes, and took off. We didn't really know what to expect. Got in the car and headed out.
Elgin was completely incredible and vast. I've never seen anything like it before. Imagining the history that occurred there so many years before me, I could see everything happening like it was just yesterday. Going down into the dungeons, standing out there, imagining the crowds, battles that could have taken place in the Colosseum. It was surreal.
If he gets a translator, be sure it speaks Bocce.
Doesn't look like we have much of a choice, but I'll remind him.
Going to Luke's house has been a dream of mine ever since I saw the movies when I was a kid. And then to be able to go to the sets of those and just see where they were filmed and standing where he stood and walk around where Luke walked is just an awesome experience.
Looks like I'm going nowhere. I have to go finish cleaning those droids.
I'll make it up to him next year. I promise.
If you enjoyed them, go and visit it and see exactly what went on and what the area was like and the culture was like around them. It was just an awesome experience. It makes me that much more of a Star Wars fan.
One of my favorite parts was riding the camels, and I had never thought in my whole life that I would get the chance to do that, but I did, and it's nothing like I'd ever experienced before.
The first thing we noticed is that it's really windy and sandy. So we had to have looked like traditional turbans around our head to keep the sand out of our ears and our eyes. We got to walk around for about 20 or 30 minutes. It was an amazing experience and tons of fun.
It's kind of like a magical ride because it's like a roller coaster in America. You hold the little pole that they have in front, and then you go forward, then back, then forward, but you are controlling the reins, and it is amazing.
They had dune buggies that you could ride around in a desert dune buggy course, and they also had a thing that looked like a dune buggy, but it also had wings that we didn't actually get to experience because it was a little bit too windy. But you could get in there, and they had a driver that would actually fly.
The Salt Sea was one of the world's really coolest natural phenomena that I've seen ever in my life. The first thing that we saw when we pulled up was just these pools of red water that looked like blood, and it was a little bit scary. It was so flat. You could just see for miles and miles and miles just white, flat ground. And I didn't know so much of nothing could be so beautiful.
We arrived there in Tozer, and they just picked us up in a horse-drawn carriage, and they took us through this desert city to an oasis. And when we arrived, there were just palm trees up everywhere, and they were just around us, and the sun just shone through them, and it was just really nice.
The oasis was really cool. We got to go look at all these date trees that were growing, and our tour guide told us like all about how they grow the plants and how it's a major agricultural practice in the area. They also got to show us like how they harvest the dates from the trees. This little boy like climbed up the tree, and they only have 10 minutes to do it. Two of our guys tried to climb up it, and they said they got higher than anyone else, but they were still like complaining about their feet.
Don't do it if you have soft feet.
I don't really know what would have come to my mind when you said Berber culture, but it definitely wasn't exactly what I saw. From the moment you walk into the area where the show is, there are people playing flutes of some kind and banging on drums, and the music was something we hadn't really heard it before, but all the drumming and the clapping and the flute playing kind of kept you going all night. There was a guy balancing crazy things on his head, 9 or 10 jugs. The belly dancing was something I hadn't ever seen. The snake charmer actually kissed the snake. It was neat just to get a new perspective on their culture. Definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
My favorite part of the trip was riding the sand dunes.
Better than any ride I've ever been on.
You would go up this hill and all you could see was the front of the car and sky.
It was like we were in a movie, like Indiana Jones. It was such a wild ride. Our driver told us that we were going to get a heart massage because we were freaking out so much.
This is very, very bad. Oh!
Mos Eisley was always one of my favorite scenes in the movies. So then being able to go to where that was filmed was an incredible experience for me. You see kind of what the cast and what the filming crew had to go through while they were filming. It was dirty and sandy and hot. And it really makes you appreciate the movies a little bit more, seeing kind of the torture really that they had to go through to film those movies and make them as great as they are.
We got to cross over the Tunisian-Algerian border and go just a couple steps into Algeria.
This is me standing in Algerian soil. I own an Algerian cactus!
In other places where they have Roman ruins, you have to look from afar and you can't really touch things and experience them firsthand, but they took us to a Roman village called Spatla. We were able to climb on the greatest Roman ruins I've ever seen. We could climb up on the house and look into the different rooms and see how it was laid out. And the big gathering place, we were able to go inside the buildings and see just the massive size of the columns that held everything up, and it was just a really cool experience to be able to walk around and touch things and feel things and just see how it was all put together.
We all know about North Africa, but seeing it with your own eyes and being there, there's just nothing like it.
I had no idea what to expect.
It was wonderful just to really experience all of Africa, I felt like.
I don't think this is your typical vacation.
Getting to travel 1,500 kilometers in 3 days was awesome because I got to see a completely different side of the world.
I would say Desert Explorer is the way to go.
It basically tops any other vacation experience you could ever have.
I definitely would not have traded this weekend for the world.
I would do it all over again if I could.